Attention everybody, the views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and or their affiliate and subordinate ministries and or nonprofits. So without any further ado, here's the man with the plan to put gold in your hand, Tony Hammock.
Good morning, everybody out there in Acts Media world. Hopefully you're someplace warm. It's a little chilly here in southwest Missouri, but it's still a great day out there, and we've got a power-packed show for you today. I've got a guest coming in here, or actually calling in here in just a little bit, so that'll be kind of fun. And what I told him I would do is I'm going to take care of some of the housekeeping first, and then he's going to check in at 9:15 our time, and we'll have a nice visit with this gentleman. I think you'll find his answers and so forth, comments and stuff, very, very informative. Anyway, with all that said, I normally like to jump right into the stewardship course, and I think I've got a good one queued up here. We normally have it revolving around gold or silver, things like that. And when I was looking for a new one this morning early, I found one that was talking about Thanksgiving. And I thought, well, how appropriate with tomorrow being Thanksgiving. And so I'm going to share this one. I'll possibly get a new one for next week and stuff. We'll see. But I think there was 3 different lessons in this course. But starts with Thanksgiving defeats sin. Our relationship with God before sin entered the world resembled a posture of upright confidence. We stood without shame before God. All our affections were aimed directly at the Trinity, and we were perfectly fulfilled. When we choose to sin and give into the belief that God and His commands are not enough, the Scripture describes us becoming bent. We no longer aim to in posture towards God in full assurance of our identity, but we bend toward the world in an effort to find affirmation and acceptance. This is the way Paul speaks of those who are without Christ. They are crooked and twisted. So what is the cure to our crookedness? Philippians 2 tells us how to become blameless, innocent, and without blemish, even amidst our sinful desires and world. Paul tells us to do everything without complaining or disputing. In other words, be thankful. Paul tells us that our thankfulness will cause us to shine like stars amidst the dark. Our world is caught up in entitlement, and thus we are always discontent. We are just like Adam and Eve in the garden. We think we deserve to be gods. Thus we are on an endless quest to captain our own ship, and the reason we are never satisfied and view all those that stand in the way of our satisfaction as enemies is because we will not allow ourselves to be happy until we have it all. As a result, we are bound in discontent. Wallowing in our own pride, we are chasing shadows. Thanksgiving is a lifestyle. If you're struggling with sin in any fashion today, it's a worship Thanksgiving problem. If you are worshiping yourself, someone, or something over and above God, and the only way to defeat sin is to transfer your worship. This is what thankfulness does. It takes your focus off your deceptive need and places your gaze upon the King. To learn more about how you can grow in your thankful worship, and it wants us to register at a Make Jesus Culture Conference, and there's a couple of links here and stuff. But I thought that was kind of fun just because, as I said, tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and there's some powerful stuff in there, and it's a little bit different than some of the things that we've done in the past as far as the devotional and so forth. But we've had a rough year. Hopefully we can all see some of the good in it and be thankful for it tomorrow. I know that sometimes the more I dwell in being thankful, the more the universe, it seems like, gives me additional things to be grateful for. So, and just the opposite. My wife teases me sometimes when we're driving that, I'm willing some of these terrible drivers into my world from the things that I say, which I will not repeat on this show. Well, this is a Christian broadcasting network, and we're not going to go there. Anyway, I'm just teasing. But as far as trying to get the housekeeping done before Mr. Ray calls in, I am going to just segue real quick into some pricing, because if you are keeping track of some of the things going on out there, you'll know that the last week has been tumultuous, has been very volatile. And as I've said several times before, we want to make volatility our friend. These first prices are going to be for precious metals. Gold is $1,814.20 an ounce. Silver is $23.48. Platinum is $968, and palladium is $2,352, and rhodium is $15,700. And all those are for the ask price, which is what you'd have to pay for it. These next ones are base metals. Copper is $3.29, and I got to tell you, I can't help but bring this up again. Boy, about the beginning of the year, remember, copper was less than $3 a pound. By the way, all these are going to be by pounds. Nickel is $7.21 a pound. Aluminum is 89 cents. Zinc is $1.23. Lead is 91 cents. And uranium is $29.50 a pound. Oil's $45.35 a barrel. That's for crude. And yesterday, for the first time ever, the Dow Jones closed over 30,000. So far this morning, it's down 172 points to rest at 29,873. So as far as making volatility our friend, I do believe in that. And here's a perfect example of that. Let me give you the Bitcoin price as we speak. Bitcoin today is $19,235 a coin. That's up 25% just in the last 2 weeks, I believe. Ethereum is $5.95 and 24 cents. Oh, just jumped up, $5.95 and 23 cents a coin. And I have to tell you that there's a lot of folks out there that think that Bitcoin is going to go much higher. Now, with that said, how would I recommend doing Bitcoin? Remember, we've always talked about how it is very volatile. It's not for widows and orphans. And you're always welcome to, give me a call if you want some information and stuff. I'm at 417-755-0700. But I would do Bitcoin on a very systematic dollar cost averaging approach. Whatever, if you thought you wanted to go into it and it was money that if you lost it, you could still sleep at night, maybe $50 a month. For some, maybe it's $50 a week. I don't know, whatever is the amount that you're comfortable with. But I got to tell you, if you a couple years ago, say 2017, had started, just doing $50 a month, you'd now have not only several $1,000s in the Bitcoin, but because of the appreciation of Bitcoin at the moment, you'd have a tidy sum. And the same holds true with gold and silver. I mean, anything that we talk about on this show can be done with dollar cost averaging. So I think those are things that, I always kind of come back to as far as a strategy, because I think so many people tend to get caught up in, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's $19,235. I got to wait until I get $19,235 to buy a coin, and that's not the case. There's several services out there that you can buy in at $50 a day or $50, per time, and gradually build up. And that's pretty handy. There's a few places that'll let you do that with gold and silver, and I'm pretty familiar with a couple of those and stuff. Speaking of gold and silver, in the few remaining moments before our guest calls in, I have to show you something kind of neat. I got a new coin. Okay, that's Pennsylvania. I showed that to you last week. But I got a new coin the other day, and this one is kind of neat in the fact that it is the first of the animal series. And so this is it's 1 ounce of silver, 0.999 purity. It is the United States Animal Series, and it's the Idaho Appaloosa. And there is a picture on the front of an Appaloosa horse, and then on the back it's got the information as far as it was minted in Cook Islands 2021. Oh, hey, it's a 2021. I didn't even realize that when I opened it. But a year of issue 2021, Cook Islands, face value $5, coin weight 1 troy ounce, 0.999 metal purity, metal composition fine silver, and there's only 2,000 in the mintage. So I'm thinking this might be an excellent one to hang on to for a while. And our guest is going to be calling, and we're going to be talking about 7K a little bit, because that's how I met this gentleman. And some of the reasons why, they've got some neat programs there and so forth, as far as ways to accumulate gold and silver. As far as things coming up, I do know that once we get past tomorrow, we're going to have Black Friday, and you can always go to the 7K store. In this case, it would be 7kmetals.com/Tony Hammock, TonyHammock, and you can check in on some of our Black Friday specials and stuff. In fact, with gold's recent downtrend, I mean, just in the last week, it's gone down, probably at least $50 and stuff. So it's on sale. I mean, it's definitely a sale, and that's the thing I like to always stress is so often with some of these instruments, people see a decrease in price and they get despondent, like, oh my gosh, it's 1806 an ounce now versus 1906 a couple weeks ago, and oh, what have I done and stuff, and that's just the wrong approach. It really is, because I can tell you long term, there's still a lot of people that are looking at everything that's going on in this economy and the world, economically, politically, and everything else you can think of, health-wise, the whole bit. And there's still a lot of folks that can point to numbers that are much greater than $2,000 an ounce. And I've seen them as high as $25,000. Most of them seem to be $5,000 to $10,000, and they've all got great reasons why gold will eventually be there. So, prior performance is not indicative of a future performance, but I will tell you that when it's on sale like this, it's the time to be excited. It'd be like right now, you're thinking of Black Friday, and hopefully you're going to do most of your Black Friday shopping online anyway, but, there's sales. There's some people doing the buy one, get one and all that kind of stuff. And, we get all excited if the shoes are on sale or laptops are on sale or whatever it is. And the same holds true for these instruments and stuff. So if you've got some spare, cash in your portfolio and stuff, now might be the time to take advantage of the lower price on gold and silver. Silver hasn't gone down quite as much. I think it was still, $23.54 an ounce, something like that. But I will tell you that, a year from now, somewhere in the future, you will be glad that you haven't. In fact, it's kind of like the other day I was reading one guy, and he was talking about, what can I do today that my future self will be proud of? For some reason, I've been thinking of that, like, gosh, I wish I had thought of that, 20, 30 years ago, but, what will my future self be proud of that I did this year? The year of 2020, COVID-19, and all this other stuff that's happened and everything. And so I know one thing they'd be proud of is that I'm going to wear my mask anytime I'm not in the studio. And, in fact, once I get off the air, I usually put my mask back on. And hopefully all of you will wear your masks through the Thanksgiving Day holiday with your loved ones, and if you did venture out for shopping and so forth. So please pay attention to the rules and all that kind of stuff. Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and get queued up here for there he is. And this should be kind of a fun conversation and stuff. I will tell you that as the month of December gets here, there's things to be thinking about from a tax standpoint. If you've got any things that need to be handled before December 31st, don't forget them. We've been fortunate this year that no one's had to file or receive required minimum distributions, but I'm sure that once we get into January and Mr. Biden gets, President-elect Biden gets sworn in, there should be some changes probably with the tax rates and all those fun things. So we'll deal with that. I don't know how many people think taxes are going to go up. Let's see a show of hands. So it might be, very smart to do some planning before the end of the year. I'm not.
call him right back.
Okay. I think that was Ray trying to call in.
Yep.
You have his number there?
Yep. All right. I don't know why it didn't come through on this. It's weird.
Do you want me to text him that we'll call him?
Yes, please. There we go.
Okay. Sorry for the interruption here. It'll be well worth it. We've switched over to where with these remote interviews, we're now using Skype. And it's supposed to be much clearer with less noise and distractions and background stuff going on and stuff. So we're excited about that. But
So sorry. There we go. Yep.
Good morning. This is Ray Patterson.
hey, Ray, Tony Hammock out here in Springfield, Missouri. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, well, I apologize. I got to the studio this morning, and I found out we were switching this kind of communication over to Skype. So it's supposed to be much better as far as the clarity, and we just had a little hiccup there. But, folks, this is Ray Patterson, and I'm real excited to have Ray call in and allow us to have a quick interview and stuff. Let me give you a little background on this gentleman because it's quite impressive. Ray Patterson is a North Carolina native. He attended UNC Charlotte, political science and constitutional law, and North Carolina State business and economics. And here's where it gets real impressive. His early career was in the broadcasting field, so you can see why I wanted to interview him over the radio. In 1994, he co-founded Motor Tracks Interactive, officially licensed by NASCAR. In 2004, Ray entered the financial world, and today he is a CFA and managing director of Ocean Drive Capital Partners, LLC, where he manages the company's private equity fund. And Ray, I am thrilled that you joined us, and I guess my first question would be, is there anything to that introduction that you want to add that I might have forgot?
Tony, I think that pretty much covers it.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot or anything, but Ray and I have met recently through a company that is called 7K Metals. And if you're a person who's watched the show over the last couple of years, you know we've mentioned 7K a couple times, and I'm a big fan of some of the things that they bring to the table and stuff. Ray, if I could, what was it that intrigued you with 7K to add them to your portfolio?
Okay, very good question. Basically, what you're asking me is what is my why?
There we go.
My
yes,
why, yes. And my why is, let me give you a little background to what you so eloquently said about me in the introduction. In 2008, September 29th, 2008 to be specific, all of us took a hit when the market crashed. For me, it was quite devastating because I was in the middle of developing a massive piece of property to the tune of 612 acres down here in South Carolina below Charlotte. And I had capital in that, as you can imagine. I had banking agreements. Everything was teed up. Bottom line is we were late to the dance. And when when Bear Stearns went down in April of '08,
I remember that.
that was that was a signal to many that something is amiss. And it turned out something was afoul. And then when Lehman went down later in the fall, and then all these bailouts started to occur, I got a letter from the big insurer, AIG, letting me know, and this happened about the first week of September. I got a letter from AIG letting me know that they would no longer be renewing my corporate insurance, nor would they be renewing my investor insurance.
Oops.
Yeah, big oops. So that was the beginning of the end for that entire project, and it was just sad all the way around. But all things happen for a reason, and I believe that anyway. And so what happened after the crash, I literally lost my shirt in many respects and had to start rebuilding all over again. So that was 12 years ago. So I'm 63 now, Tony. I was 51. Luckily, I managed to hold on to my dirt. That's the one thing that I managed to hold on to. And at that point, I had amassed a decent amount of precious metals. I've been buying gold and silver since really the late 90s. I just saw it as a way to protect against things like happened in '08. Mm-hmm. And so that's what started my journey to get to where I'm at today. And I made it a point to learn everything that I could about the fallacies of Wall Street, the investment banks, and more to the point, the Federal Reserve. And that started it all. So fast forward, in 2009, late 2009, I started brokering precious metals.
Okay.
And continued to do that. And then I was with a former company, not 7K, but the company I was with before then. I came across, I was reintroduced to a gentleman that you and I both know very well, Mr. Tony Hubbard.
Yes, Tony.
And
yeah.
Yes. And Tony called me up just a little over 4 years ago. And he called me up, and I hadn't talked to him in months because we kind of lost contact a little bit there when the previous company that we were both affiliated with, they went under. And he called me up. He said, we called up for a few minutes, and he said, "How would you like to go to Idaho Falls?" And I went, "Where? Where? Idaho Falls? Are you kidding me?" So at that time, I had planted my flag with another company and was, starting to do pretty good, liked what I was doing. Because, Tony, I'm a very loyal guy. But at the end of the day, business is business. And sometimes you have to pull up your flag and move it elsewhere. And he called me, and we laughingly talk about that was that would have, could have, should have moments because he joined 7K Metals from day one. And now, of course, he is at the top of the food chain. And, one of the largest income producers, and was the largest income producer at that company until recently, where we've had some young bucks come in that Tony has mentored as well as a gentleman by the name of Ron Austin, who I'd become friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are just setting it on fire. So I came to them because the 7K business model, nothing compares to it, Tony. I mean, just nothing compares to it. And at the end of the day, that company, the money, if you will, behind that company is by I consider him a friend now, more so a mentor. His name is Roger Ball. And Roger is a billionaire.
With a B. Yeah.
With a B. With a B. And I like to, I've got a book coming out, Tony. It's called, It's All About the Money, What the Politicians and the Bankers Don't Want You to Know, and What the Mainstream Media Won't Tell You. And that's going to be interesting because I'm going to, I have accumulated a lot of knowledge since '08, Tony. Everything from how the mining sectors work, those costs, because I'm also an analyst. So it's kind of my job to dig in the weeds and find the skeletons in the closet, if you will. And I help people with everything from, mortgages, HELOCs. I used to be back in the early 2000s, I was a licensed residential mortgage lender. And it's been quite the journey. But this company is amazing because we all believe that everybody on this planet needs to own some precious, physical gold and silver, precious metals, as a hedge against inflation and to protect ourselves and our assets and our family from what's coming. And part of what this book I'm still working on gets into all of those details. And let's face it, Tony, I've said this to you before. What you and I do, what happens in the background is very boring, and it's like watching paint dry.
Or grass grow.
So, yes, but, somebody's got to do it, as they say, because, you help people. I help people. I mean, it's what we do. And I'm a firm believer, and the more you give, the more you're going to get back. So it's their business model, but more so it is their people that are behind this company. That's kind of my why. And then as of May of this year, they came out with the sound money system.
Oh, I know.
And it is that. So you're familiar with it. I mean, that is an amazing product. Nobody on the planet has this technology. And last Friday, a week ago, when I was in Idaho Falls at a regional meeting that we had, I got the privilege of sitting down with Mr. Ball on a one-on-one with him. We covered many topics, and he sees the ability in the advent of what sound money can do. And he's already, because this thing's getting very popular very quick, and there's already major financial people out there that are starting to come to 7K to see if they can buy the software, to see if they'll license it to them, and what have you.
Well, let's do this. Not to butt in, but I guess I'm going to just real quick because there are people. Well, there are people that tune in, week out, but there are some new viewers, and some of them may not be familiar with this sound money, wallet that we're now talking about and stuff. Do you want to just take a second and kind of describe exactly its features and benefits?
Yeah, real quickly, you can take cash from your checking account, for example, or you can mail the company a check, or you can do a wire. And once you set up your account, you have to have a membership obviously. And the memberships are, quite frankly, for what you get. It's an annual membership. It works very much like Costco or Sam's Club or Amazon Prime. It's $199 a year. That works out to be, what is that, $16 and change a month.
Yeah.
I believe I'm doing that in my head, Tony. So you buy the membership, and that gives you access to not only all those other benefits that the company offers, but now you can open up your own precious metals savings account. So you take money from your checking account at your local FDIC bank, and you send them whatever you're comfortable with. And now that part takes a day or two to get from your bank to their bank. They're in Idaho, and for those funds to convert into the sound money system. Now, once it's there, you can literally convert your cash to physical gold or physical silver. And let me be clear on this. That's the physical silver and gold that you access or buy are Liberty Silver Eagles or Liberty Gold Eagles directly from the United States Mint. Okay? They do that for consistency and what have you. So now, at the push of a button, you do have to download Google Authenticator on your smartphone. And so when you pull up your account on your computer or your phone, you hit the button there, and you're going to hit your Google Authenticator, and they're going to send you a 6-digit code that refreshes every 30 seconds. So you simply punch that 6-digit code into your 7K back office on that system. Boom, you're ready to go. Now you get to make whatever kind of mix that you want to. You can take that cash, turn it into silver, gold, gold to silver, silver to gold, back to cash, whatever. And, excuse me. And at some point, of course, you're going to want to, possibly turn some of that back into USD. You can do that as well. And here's the beauty of it. Look at it this way, Tony. It's like Venmo. Are you familiar with Venmo?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. It's a lot like Venmo, but for physical gold and silver. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. So you can do all of that. And if you're a member, like, you're a member, so you and I, for example, if I wanted to buy something from you, now I can just go into my Sound Money wallet and transfer that exact amount to you with no fee. Okay. And you can hold as much metal as you would like to in your account. And I've got a nice little chunk in there, if you can imagine, of course. And I'm very comfortable. I took a tour of the vault and how all of that works when I was up there a couple of weeks ago. The security is fantastic. You can have up to $25,000 in any combination in that vault. And it's, real gold, real silver. And there's no storage fees, which is huge. But now once you go over 25,000, based on the market price of gold or silver, when they bill you, they're going to take 1% of that entire amount over the 25,000. They're going to charge you 1% for storage, but that 1% is divided by 12 months. So you're basically paying, 0.12 each month of 1% spread out over 12 months. Now, why is that important? nothing else out there can compare to any of it. I have some of my metal in a private vaulting service with Brinks. I'm sure you're familiar with Brinks.
Yes, sir.
As well as Moody's. But because of the fees, and more to the point, the security that they have, as I told them when I was out there, based on what I learned, because, seeing is believing. Being told something is one thing, seeing is believing. And based on what I learned, I am now going to start taking a large portion of what I have at Brinks and at Moody's, and I'm going to be sending that to Idaho to store there. And then, of course, the beauty of all of this is, let's say that the market price of silver is, let's call it $30. That's a little high for what it is today. But let's say you convert it $30. It's in there at $30. That's what you bought it at. So now it's just sitting in there. So when silver goes to $50 an ounce, $100, $150, and quite frankly, I predicted, that's sort of what I'm known for too, Tony. I've been making predictions on the market since 2009. And sadly, every one of those predictions have come true. I say sadly because of what it is doing to our society. And this goes back to, it's so important that everybody own this stuff, or some of it at least, to protect themselves. But when that figure goes up to 50 an ounce, 75 an ounce, whatever it's going to be, when you pull it back out, you're still going to get the current market value. So it's a great place to store your metal while the metal, because historically it goes up, and it has. There's nothing else that I have found that even comes close to this.
Well, and I'm listening to you.
There's my why.
Yeah, no, I've been listening to you, and I'm thinking, okay, so there's folks in the listening audience that, have bought gold and silver, so you folks know all the steps that it normally would take, and then there's other folks in the audience that probably have never done this. So just real quick, I mean, normally if you went to put, let's say, $1,000 into silver and gold, you'd have to find out, who to buy it from, see if you could trust them, make sure they weren't charging, a huge upcharge or markup. And then once you made the transaction, you'd have to wait a few days and then decide, okay, do I want them to send the metals to me, or do I want them to warehouse them, which is where some of the costs that Ray was referring to would come up. And then down the road, you have to make the decision like, okay, I'm gonna sell this, and then it could be weeks before they actually get you a check. Where, I got to tell you, I love the Sound Money wallet because I've used it myself, and it is mind-boggling how simple it is and how brilliant it is. With
no fees. Yeah,
with no fees, and I just think it keeps getting better and better. I mean, when they added that Google Authenticator, I thought that was fantastic. I did have one gentleman that had a little issue with it, but once we had him talk to one of the girls in the back office, and that's one of the things about 7K that I don't think gets mentioned enough. I got to tell you, the people in the home office, mainly the women, because that seems to be the ones I encounter the most, are all very, very good. They're phenomenal.
Yes, and I know all of them in that office. They're great people. They're very well trained. And, where can you call a company? Well, take your bank. How many times have you called your bank and you ask for somebody and, they don't work here anymore? So, it's all about relationships in the world we live in today.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Well, let's talk.
And
Let's
this
talk
is very
about.
often the case.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I thought the direction you were going to go with that is when you call your bank and you want your money back. You know, all these banks now have these new disclosures where they're telling you, okay, if you just deposit the check today, you're only going to get $250. And if you do it in a couple days, you're only going to get, $1,500. I mean, the rules now to get your own money back from a bank are just unbelievable. And just take a second, if you would, Ray, on the Sound Money wallet. If somebody's in there for a while and they decide they want to pull out, let's say $1,000, how would they do that?
They go in there, they do it, they request a transfer, they get that Google Authenticator 6-digit code, they input it into their computer and pull up the amount of what they're wanting, and you can transfer it back to your bank's checking account. You can also get what is called a Pay Quicker debit card. You can have it transferred to your Pay Quicker debit card. Again, no fee. And now you've got that money sequestered, or currency sequestered on that prepaid debit card that you can use anywhere, just like you would a credit card or a debit card, which is amazing. The thing that I like, too, about this, once you pull that currency that is under the auspices of the Federal Reserve and the FDIC guidelines, once you pull it out of your bank, you convert it into real metal. Here's what you've done. You've taken it out of the banking system. You've also, by doing so, now the banking system and the Federal Reserve and their collection arm of what I like to refer to as the Infernal Revenue Service, they can't get their hands on it. Okay, now, let me clarify something very important, and this is part of what I teach and preach, Tony. When you go to your bank to pull out cash, okay, you want to keep it under increments of $10,000, actually $9,999 or less per withdrawal. Okay, now why is that important? Because the banks, they do some things that they don't tell me and you about in the background. And so if they know you, they may elect not to fill out what is called a SAR report. SAR, that stands for Suspicious Activities Report.
Correct.
If they don't know you, they absolutely will fill it out, and that is an internal banking document, but it is also copied to our wonderful friends at the Internal Revenue Service, as well as, wait for it, Homeland Security. So with 7K and having a Sound Money wallet, you're really protecting your privacy, because quite frankly, I know how the banks work. I used to deal with them with mortgages, and how that ties into the Federal Reserve, all of which I'm going to be writing about. And I'm going to try to be, as I write about this, I'm going to be doing it in a very basic way, because I'm trying to, in the book, teach people the basics of what they need to know about the Fed, about the banks, about Wall Street, and what they need to know.
Well, let's do this. Let me just interject this real quick. We got about 4 minutes, and
okay.
The one thing there's two things I guess I'm kind of curious about is, one, your viewpoint on fiat currency, and then last, and I don't even know if I'm going to give you enough time here with only 4 or 5 minutes. Besides the Sound Money wallet, is there another benefit from 7K that you just think is fantastic. Maybe I should do
Well,
either or. I don't know. That's a lot to ask.
Well, fiat, which is Latin for by official decree, which means the government gets to tell you, they get to counterfeit, because what they do, they counterfeit that funny money, because if you know the Constitution like I do, especially constitutional law, the printing of that funny money, they continue to do it infinitum, and that of course creates more debt over more debt over more debt. And the purchasing power, how it affects you and I, the purchasing power of the dollar, since it was created in its existing form when the Fed was established in 1913, so here we are 107 years later, it has lost 97.3% of its purchasing power.
Wow.
Okay. Now, if you have physical metal, just going back to 2000, if you had taken some of that funny money and bought physical gold with it, you would be up 426% as of this morning.
Wow.
Not a bad return.
Not at all.
Okay. And gold and silver has been used in various ways of coinage, going all the way back to basically 460 BC in Mesopotamia. And then it was later, more processed when the Greeks got a hold of it years later. But, bottom line is gold and silver has been around for 5,000 years, used in some form or another. It's never gone to zero. And with all of the debt we have out there today, it is a ticking time bomb, the debt, because we got the national debt, we got the intergovernmental debt, and then we have the debt of the derivatives markets, which includes those nasty things called mortgage-backed securities, credit default swaps, credit debt obligations, all of that, all of those clever financial paper products that the banks come up with to make more money off of us. This is why, out of my liquidity, I've got, on any given day, 82, 83% of my liquidity in physical metal, gold and silver. And out of that, given how that works, I keep around 80% in silver and 20% in gold.
Oh, it's kind of aggressive. But, speaking of aggressive, I was probably aggressive thinking we could get more accomplished in the time we had this morning. So, Ray, I got to tell you, somewhere in the future, if you're willing, I'm going to have to get you back on the show, because you and I could probably talk for hours. I don't think Matt, our producer, would let me do that at any one time. He's kind of giving me a look like. But anyway, I do want to say
I
thank
would be
you.
glad to, Tony.
Okay.
Anytime. I enjoyed this, and anything I can do in the future, feel free to call on me.
Well, Ray Patterson, thank you so much. Your book will be coming out shortly, and we'll have you back on when that happens so we can promote that and educate some more folks about the precious metal world. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. You and Matt have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll be talking soon.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
And, folks, that pretty much exhausts the time that Matt's willing to give me this morning, which is fine because it's the day before Thanksgiving. And as Ray said, please have a wonderful Thanksgiving. There are a lot of things to be grateful for this year. I know in some cases it may be difficult to think of them, but, it's been a very, very interesting year to say the least. And please wear your masks in your gatherings with your loved ones and so forth. And if you do venture out on Black Friday, be extremely cautious and follow the rules, all those kinds of things. But, we here at the New Gold Standard love you. We're thrilled that you tune in. Please have a good one, and we will be back next week. Thanks so much.